This is the tragic story of Neos, a story that really hasn't been told before. Without a doubt, Neos is the most advanced piece of VR software that humanity has ever seen, at least yet. Easily 10 years ahead of its time, but not every story is a good one. This is a story of how Neos was built by a single prodigy developer and how the entire project was turned on its head by a $500 million crypto pump and dump scheme fueled by the Metaverse craze. A passion project that turned some into millionaires overnight and resulted in others losing everything. This truly is the story of the first Metaverse and the lessons that everybody should learn because of it. If you take a look at the Metaverse before it was twisted and misconstrued, this program is probably the closest to it. Neos is a place that you can actually do and build anything you can imagine within a virtual space. There are no anti-cheats, no strict moderation policies, and practically no limits beyond network and computational power. And on the surface, it may look like every other social VR platform, but under the hood, it is so much more. Hidden behind Neos's complex UI, Neos is Unity, it's Blender, it's Photoshop, it's Discord, and a file sharing service, and a GitHub with its own built-in visual programming language all within Neos. It's not quite as powerful as any of those other things individually, but it is all of those things within one VR application. I can take a picture with a camera within Neos, then take that file and hand it to you. Or if I want to build a world, I can do it all within VR with people collaborating in real time. It's unlike anything I have ever seen before, all built by one person and eventually supplemented by the community that came to it. And if you understand how powerful and insane everything I just said was, you may be asking yourself, where did this all go wrong? But before we get to that, let's take a journey of when everything was going right. The year is 2014. VR is everywhere thanks to the success of the Oculus Rift Kickstarter and soon to be the development kit too. Oculus was promising that for the first time ever, a cheap, accessible, and high-quality virtual reality experience was accessible to everybody. All they needed now was for people to start developing things for it. This inspired thousands across the world, including two VR-crazed individuals in the Czech Republic, Thomas aka FrooxEngine and Karel Hulick. After winning multiple awards for various VR technology game jams, the two co-founded Solarix just a year later. Solarix was a virtual reality company dedicated to making the most advanced education programs available, utilizing VR as a compelling technology. And the dynamic between the two co-founders was simple and lucrative. FrooxEngine develops the software, and Karel conducts business selling the software. It's during this time that the earliest versions of Neos would come to surface, in the form of two demo pieces of software built to show the potential of virtual reality using very early snippets of Neos code, dubbed Neos Universe and Neos Origin. But it's at this point that FrooxEngine and Karel have more in mind than just simple specialized VR demos. Enter Neos in 2016. What was imagined as a full Metaverse engine, empowering social VR education and unlocking the ability to go anywhere and do anything with a peer-to-peer network system, allowing the world to be persistent with other people. This is early VR and a very early concept, a full year before VR chat would even launch. And the player base was tiny, mostly dedicated to education. The idea of Neos was to allow any instructor to become a Miss Frizzle like in Magic School Bus. Why stick students to reading a textbook when you could take them on a virtual reality journey to see it themselves, or take courses from around the world? The idea was novel. And for the next few years, the dynamic between FrooxEngine and Karel would more or less stay the same. FrooxEngine was the one developing this Metaverse engine, and Karel would seek out ways to fund and market the company. However, there was a fundamental problem. Solarix was running out of money, but their dreams had only begun, and together they found a solution. The entirety of cryptocurrency was very different in 2018 than it is now. From the way people talked about it, invested in it, and utilized it at the time for the people enveloped in the world in crypto, blockchain technology was far more about the exciting potentials that it could unlock. The main appeal of crypto is that it enables secure and encrypted logging of transactions without the oversight of any other entity. complexity. And in 2018, for a business like Celerix running out of capital while building this decentralized metaverse platform, it seemed like crypto was the end-all be-all answer to all of their problems. See, at this time, Neos was still very much so an education platform, but the software had become advanced enough that it was very clear to both Frooxius and Carol that Neos was possibly not just the next education platform, but the next revolution of virtual reality technology, an incredible spatial computing tool that could create an entirely new class of citizens, creating and connecting jobs around the world to create a more desirable reality. And that may sound a little weird, and that's because those weren't my words. This was all outlined in the Neos white paper, a voluntary document that discloses information about a business idea or roadmap or plan, usually in preparation for an ICO, or initial coin offering. And so, Neos cryptocurrency, NCR, is launched with big aspirations. And NCR wasn't just a way for Neos to gain capital to continue development without big investors taking over their plans. It also served a much larger purpose, creating an inverse economy. The idea was for Neos to have an in-game market where anyone could make anything and then sell it. It didn't matter whether you were in Japan or Antarctica, and it didn't matter what your local currency was. There were no exchange rates for anything because NCR was king. However, it wasn't exactly the perfect solution.
The thing that I found interesting about NCR is that it was kind of like a one-size-fits-all token, in that it was originally supposed to be the ICO for the crowdfunding mechanism. At the same time, it was being used as the token that was supposed to power the economy itself, and it just had this kind of juxtaposition happening between these two different use cases.
And development on Neos continued, still nearly solely by Frooxius, while Carol handled the crypto implementation. And around this time, Neos gets its first influx of users that aren't purely education focused. An entire culture begins to develop within the application, and with this newfound community, the creations explode. Community creation jams, competitions, new staff. But along with this explosion, the community and developers of Neos begin growing further apart as cracks begin to show. And a schism is beginning to erupt between the users and
Neos credits NCR, and it is amazing.
This is where everything changes. October.
We believe the Metaverse will be the successor to the mobile internet.
Facebook changes its name to Meta in one of the most widely viewed tech company announcements of all time. And along with it, their sales pitch to the world on the Metaverse. This spreads waves across the internet in ways that I don't think anyone could have possibly imagined. Simultaneously, a perfect storm was brewing within the crypto and NFT community. No longer was crypto this mysterious, compelling technology on blockchain. Instead, it had grown a terrible reputation. Because of the inherent Wild West nature of crypto, many people saw it as a potential to make a lot of money and to make it fast. Whether that be through multi-million-dollar NFTs, outright scams, hacks, pump and dump schemes, or the occasionally actually decent idea, between 2018 and this time, the crypto bro stereotype emerged, funded by billions of dollars. And hot off the heels of Meta's big announcement, the entire world was caught in a metaverse craze. Every company you can imagine in some way, shape, or form hopped on the bandwagon, and overnight, dozens of virtual reality metaverse crypto projects popped up. Except all of those metaverse projects were just ideas. There was nothing actually tangible to invest in. There were no real games or applications or metaverses. They all sprouted to make money off of the craze. For everyone, it was crypto first and platform and community second. All except for one. Turns out, there was a company that had been working on a piece of technology, the most advanced piece of VR software ever created, and it was already decentralized, already branded Metaverse before Metaverse, and already had a cryptocurrency for the past few years, as well as a thriving community and user base. This was Neos. And within days of the October Meta announcement, the price of NCR shot from 23 cents to $8.60. Word had gotten around and the crypto bros got in. There was money to be made.
Neos happened to just exist at the intersection of blockchain and metaverse, which were two very buzzy things at the time. So of course, you had all of these people investing into this product thinking that it was just going to change everything.
Hey, big shout out to Neos, crypto community.
Up and to the right, beautiful thing, right?
I am loading up. I am filling my bags up with Neos.
And this was a wild moment for the community as well. The people that gave their free time to making Neos what it was were often paid in NCR in the past. So if you had, for example, 10,000 NCR, well, within a couple weeks, what was worth a couple grand was now worth nearly $100,000. This made some people millionaires overnight and brought Neos's market cap to $500 million with only room to grow. This massive surge bought houses, cars, paid off college debt, and set Neos down a path that was aligned with their original white paper in 2018. It was actually happening. But in reality, things were far worse than they appeared. Behind closed doors, Neos was not perfect, and NCR was never built with a massive boom in value in mind, and tiny cracks turned into chasms. All of this money wasn't necessarily because Neos was good or ready or growing. It was because the Metaverse and NCR was a popular crypto investment. And tensions grew between the two co-founders just as tensions grew between the core community and the new community that cared more about making money from Neos's cryptocurrency than Neos itself. Here's where things start moving very fast in what's known as the Great Divorce between the co-founders. Up to this point, FrooxEngine has handled development of the game nearly entirely, while Carol handled finances and the crypto integration. And in an infamous board meeting in 2021, the CEO, Carol, announces without anyone else's approval that they had just hired a new chief operations officer, and along with this new COO is a new plan for development that every developer would have to follow.
I remember when that happened too. I was at a board of directors meeting in early December. And I remember at the very end of the meeting, everybody just surrounded FrooxEngine because you could just tell that he was not doing well. You know, it was a very emotional thing for him. And after that, I think the development team said, we just need to move away from crypto because it is obviously affecting the platform.
To the Neos team and FrooxEngine that had been the ones developing Neos from the ground up, this felt like they were losing everything they had worked for, that crypto was taking over their project. And as a reaction, Carol was voted out of the Neos team. But the problem was, they didn't really have that power. NCR and Carol were ingrained into Neos. Since the beginning, FrooxEngine and Carol were the Steve Jobs and Wozniak of Solarix. And as things like this go, more money, more problems. The community publicly explodes over Twitter and Discord as the two co-founders no longer see eye to eye. One side wanting to completely distance Neos from crypto, and the other wanting to make it a bigger part of the way Neos operates. But it gets even worse. Nobody was really prepared for the 2022 has been a very rough year for blockchain and crypto. The entire crypto market has crashed, Bitcoin alone losing nearly 60% of its peak value. But NCR and Neos suffered from something a little different, known as a pump and dump. While not quite as bad as other schemes that did occur, basically all of the crypto bros saw an opportunity to pump a coin, they got a bunch of people to invest, and then dumped it before the coin loses its pumped up value. This resulted in NCR being worth $10 per coin to 30 cents in the course of a couple months. Throw the overall crypto crash on top of it, and NCR is dead. And the core community that actually cares about Neos was left with the bag. The crypto community is gone, and the only thing left are the two co-founders that have very different plans for Neos, and a community of users that are hurt and torn. And right now, the issue isn't can Neos be saved, it's more the question of who even owns Neos. Solarix was founded by two young guys out of college, and frankly, no one properly even knows who owns the code or intellectual property. And so far, Neos has been in a 9-month development gridlock, lost a whole lot of money, and the two co-founders are practically working on different Neoses. Carol's Cryptoverse and FrooxEngine's Metaverse platform with the community stuck in between the crossfire. But not everything is doom and gloom. Just recently, Neos hit its all-time peak concurrent players, and a lot of that original fire the community had for Neos is returning. People are finally seeing how much potential this platform has, and how in the future its tools really are. And I have a few ideas of ways Neos can be improved for everyone, but first we have to look at the potential paths Neos can take from here on. The app is in development hell, and the co-founders have had a complete breakup and the community has lost faith in its CEO. Yet, Carroll isn't done yet. In his public statement, he both welcomes Neos to continue development under his control, but in the next sentence threatens legal action if his visions aren't met, mainly continuing crypto involvement within Neos. And FrooxEngine made a public statement stating that him and the development team have practically been taken advantage of. They haven't even been properly contracted or employed, and they just want to keep building Neos for the community. It's really just a mess, and there's more than one person at fault here. And at this point, I see a few directions this could go. One, the band gets back together and learn from their experiences and reach a compromise that makes everyone happy to push Neos to its possible glory. This would require everyone to drop their egos and preconceived notions and apologize and make everything official the way it should be. Two, Neos gets forked. Essentially, Carroll goes his way with his portion of Neos, and FrooxEngine goes their own way, and we may even see two Neoses. In fact, this is looking sort of likely. No one knows who properly owns Neos, so maybe they both do. Three, pivot everything to an open source platform. And four, let Neos die. And, of course, I don't want to see that happen. Neos is the dream application right now. If you imagined a place that's full of wonder and unlimited possibility within virtual reality, this is it. It's the decentralized metaverse that isn't controlled by massive corporations that we all wanted. And of course, there are so many things that need improvement. The whole user interface could be revamped entirely. There needs to be a simple mode for people that don't want to be a software developer to use Neos. And there's all sorts of other various issues, including the base. All of this drama needs to be fixed. Essentially, get your shit together. But the core of Neos and the platform is so good even as is. And I really do recommend you hop in and give it a try, not just for a few minutes, but grab one of the old users that's been around for a while and ask them to teach you whatever you want, because they will. And that's a beautiful thing. Coming in my pretty much first day into Neos, watching hundreds of new users all being taught by old users by hand, it's probably one of the most human things I've ever seen in virtual reality. I also have to accept that if Neos doesn't figure itself out, it can't keep stringing along its community for forever. So, for now, unless something changes, you now know the story of the very first metaverse, something that may be a walking corpse right now, lost to the wrong place at the right time and trampled by greed and crypto pump and dump schemes. And at the very least, if Neos doesn't learn from its own mistakes to become the platform it should be, I truly hope that the next metaverse does.
I don't want to steal from your time. I guess if you guys could say anything to anybody watching this, what would it be?
Yeah, I hope it stays around. Because, well, I love this platform.
You'll find things here that aren't possible in other social VR platforms. I think it is worth a try.
If you get to know the community, there will always be a place for everyone.
How community members are treated, to how team members are treated. Like, we all want this place to be good, so do your best forward to everyone, you know?
Just flex once in a while. No, just no comment.
Just flex.
Like I said, I've been here for a long time. This feels like home. Feeling like I lost that originally with all the issues that were happening. That hurt a lot. It felt like a grieving process. But I still like doing stuff here and making things. And I hope things can, get into a better spot.